I love my wife, Lily, dearly. She has always been my best friend. I was devoid of love and affection for most of my life, until she came along 8 years ago. I have hopelessly been in love ever since. We have been married for 5 years now. You know you love someone when you're ready to do anything for them. I'd do anything for Lily. If she said that the sky was red, it was red. If it wasn't, I'd paint it red. We had a beautiful daughter on March 28th, 3 years ago. We named her Dorothy, after Lily's grandmother. That is when things started to get strange. One morning my beloved Lily woke up and said, "I need to tell you something. I cannot keep it in me any longer. I don't expect you to understand, but you're the only person I can trust." At first, I thought she was joking. But she was sweating profusely, and her eyes told me that this wasn't some silly prank. "Yes, darling." "What's wrong?" I asked. "I get visions and I can see into the future," she said, her lips trembling with each word. "Wait? So, like a psychic?" I asked. "I don't know. I have always kept it to myself, but it seems I have had this gift since my pregnancy. I didn't say anything about this to anyone. But darling, you are an atheist who prides herself in trusting logic and facts over anything else. I thought we both were like that. Do you really believe that you can see the future? You don't have to believe me just yet. I didn't believe myself either. I just know that I have this gift now. I have these visions on looking at certain people and places, and they come true. They always come true. I have tried keeping this to myself, but after what I saw today, I had to let you know. Your mother is going to die tomorrow." "What? What are you saying?" "Yes. Just go over there now. Don't ask any questions." My mother lived with her sisters upstate. It was a 4-hour drive away. I really hoped Lily was wrong, but I didn't want to take the risk. I went out. To this day, I cannot explain what happened next, but it certainly made me believe that my wife was psychic. When I was an hour away from her place, I received a call from my mother's sister telling me that my mother had slipped and fallen in the bathroom. She instantly died from the concussion. Lily was right. This was not a coincidence. Over the next few weeks, Lily got visions of minor things like what would I get to see at work, who would visit us during the weekend, what Christmas present I had bought and kept hidden away from her, and she was right every time. We learned to live with it, slowly, unless the visions were tragic, like someone close getting fired or dying. I didn't believe in these things throughout my life, but it was hard being a non-believer when you're seeing these things happen with your own eyes in your own life. I had asked her why she didn't tell me about her gift earlier, but she said that she had no idea about it. It was only when she was pregnant that she started getting these visions. I still loved Lily, and I always would. That will never change. If she said that the sky was red, it was red. If it wasn't, I'd paint it red. Things were all right for a while, and I'd like to believe that this was the time in our lives that we were truly happy. I loved Lily and my little beautiful daughter, Dorothy. Lily loved Dorothy and spent most of her time playing with her. They were both so adorable. It filled my heart with happiness every single day. We were happy, in love, and raising a beautiful child. Her having a psychic gift was just a bonus at that point. However, not all love stories have a happy ending. Ours, unfortunately, wasn't an exception. Last year, Dorothy died because of a heart condition that couldn't be remedied. Lily was devastated, and so was I. It was the toughest and saddest time of our lives, and I knew that I had to be strong for her. I was her only shoulder to cry on. But most of the time, I broke down alone in rooms of silence when I was sure she wasn't nearby. I couldn't ever get over that, and I knew Lily couldn't either. She spent her nights crying and clutching on to me. She spent her mornings waking up and crying. On most days, I tried to calm her down, but on the few days when my heart couldn't handle the unbearable pain of our loss, we held each other and cried. Our perfect life was over. Weeks passed by like this. Lily ate less and stopped going out of the house altogether. I couldn't bear to see her sadness, but there was nothing I could do. I was sure that something inside of Lily had broke, and she wasn't the same person ever since. She didn't speak during the day, and during the nights, she cried. She looked at Dorothy's crib and broke down crying every time she looked at it. I tried my best to be there for her. I still loved her more than anything else, and seeing her in such misery reminded me of the blissful times in our lives that we both had taken for granted. It also seemed that her gift of getting visions went away with the passing of our daughter. She used to stare at walls and ceilings hoping for visions, and whenever she got one, or claimed to get one, she told me about them and it didn't come true. Her gift had gone, and she had become a soulless, depressed version of the woman I had once known. It was perhaps Dorothy has something to do with it, since she started getting these visions when Dorothy came in this world, and lost it with her passing. I'm sure she realized this as well, but wasn't ready to accept it. A few weeks later, she told me that she saw, in a vision, that her neighbor's dog had died. Like all her visions since Dorothy had died, I thought this one was not going to come true as well. However, things were different on the next morning. For the first time since a long time, I saw Lily smile. The neighbor's dog. It died, she said. My gift is back. Do you understand what this means? No, Lily, I said, still trying to process everything. It means I can see the future again, she said and hugged me. I held her tightly and hugged her. For the first time since Dorothy passed away, she wasn't crying as soon as she woke up. Rather, she was happy. You don't believe me, do you? She asked. I do, I said and kissed her. She kissed me back with eyes wide open, and I realized then that something was still wrong with her. However, I still loved her and I always would. Losing your own daughter and recovering from the shock isn't going to be a pleasant experience, but I sincerely hoped she hadn't gone crazy. The next few days went by normally. Lily was less upset. Getting her gift back seemed to bring a new ray of hope in her life. She told me that in one of her visions she saw her abusive brother will die within a week. Her brother was an abusive leech to both her parents, and it was obvious that Lily wanted him to die. Are you sure this is a vision and not just your fantasy? I said, expecting her to laugh at the joke. No. He'll die, she said, in a straight voice. Her brother did die, and the police are still investigating his murder. Someone had apparently stabbed him in his throat and left him to die in his car. When the police came over to our place for questioning, Lily gave me a look I'll never forget. While the police weren't looking, she looked at me and smiled from ear to ear. She never liked her brother, but even after hearing the news about his death, she wasn't affected. The police went away, but they're still investigating this. I just hope to God they don't come by again. I think Lily is getting happier though. She talks to me more frequently and doesn't cry anymore. Last week, Lily told me that she saw Mr. Hudson, or Badmouth Billy as he was known in the neighborhood, would die. Sure enough, he died the next day with a knife stuck in his spine. I saw Lily happy again when she got to know. Never did I expect the love of my life to be happy hearing about people dying. It seemed that, now, she expected this, and this was the only thing that mattered to her. The fact that these people whom she knew, who lived barely a block away, were brutally murdered, didn't seem to bother her. It was as if, now, she knew that they were dead, as soon as she told me of her vision. It might seem weird that most of my wife's predictions about people dying were being fulfilled by them being murdered. It's also a weird coincidence that these people were people she wasn't fond of. Rather, she strongly disliked them. So, I know what you're probably thinking. It's her. She's killing these people to fulfill her visions because after Dorothy's death, she has gone crazy. But I've always loved my wife. I know that whatever Lily is, she is not a killer and she isn't capable of doing this. I know she's not a killer. I know she's not. Because I am. Poisoning a dog and stabbing 2 men in the dark were easy, and I'll do it all over again for her. I'll keep fulfilling all her visions, if that's what it takes to see a smile on her beautiful face. Like I said, I'd do anything for her. If she said that you were going to die, you would die. I'll make sure you do. If she said that the sky was red, it was red. If it wasn't, I'll paint it red. With your blood.